Hello, we're live. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Marlins in the Morning. I'm Kyle Cruzy. Ethan, introduce yourself because it's your first time back this year.
I'm Ethan Bernstein. I was, called in the first day because I was at opening day and I was MIA yesterday. So, first show 3 days into the year where I'm actually on camera. Look at that. What a concept.
Mm. And another fun one, huh? I mean, uh,
If you're a Pirates fan,
Marlins. Marlins lose again, 9-3. Ugly one. We'll get into it. 0-3 start. Vibes pretty low, would you say, Ethan?
pretty low. It would have been nice to at least have gotten a win in the first 3 days, and they still have a chance to at least salvage something in the series tomorrow. That's the beauty before game set. Um, but hopefully they can, still turn it around. Still have time technically to have a better start than last year. Last year, I believe they started 1-4. So I think there's still time to, right the ship here with a little foreshadowing. Trev and Max still to go, but hopefully they can turn it around.
Uh, Ever the optimist, Ethan Bernstein. Nick says you're the most unrealistic fan. By the way, Nick Esposito not with us for uh, personal reasons today. We'll all be here tomorrow, I believe. I promised this yesterday, and I was wrong though. So we'll see.
Two out of
We'll all be here
three.
tomorrow. We'll talk about what we got going on tomorrow a little bit later. Let's talk about the game first of all. Ugly one, obviously. Marlins lose 9-3. Ryan Weathers on the mound for the Marlins. Jared Jones for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who turned out to be a whiz kid in his MLB debut. He was fantastic. Both guys got off to good starts, actually. Weathers, couple innings, pretty quiet for the Pirates. Struggled a bit in the third. There were, I believe, a couple kind of iffy singles. There was a seeing eye single, and then Berger tried to make a nice play on a Connor Joe infield single. Anyway, things got out of hand pretty quickly for the Pirates. It was 1-0 after three, and then a couple more runs would come across in the fourth inning to make it 3-0. Marlins did get back into this game. Uh, there was a two-out walk to Jazz. I want to say in the fourth inning. I'm correct on that. Yeah, the fourth inning. Two-out walk to Jazz. Then Jake Berger, who's been great so far this season, best hitter on the Marlins to this point, hitting 545 actually in the early going. He goes for a double into right center, and then Jesus Sanchez, who was a bright spot again today, with an opposite field single to make it 3-2. So 4 innings in, I believe, yeah, Ryan Weathers. You know what? Once again, I'm gonna just pop this up. Everyone else can see what I'm seeing and what we see, right, Ethan? Uh, Ryan Weathers 94 pitches through 4 innings. He finished with, I believe, five or what was it, six, three? How many walks did he have there? Ryan
Two
Weathers,
outs.
just a couple walks, five strikeouts. He gives up 3 runs, 7 hits, the big number for Weathers in this one. Um, Again, can't really have that, can't really afford that right now with the way things are going. Nonetheless, this is where we are. Um, Tough start for Weathers, decent start, all things considered. Not the rotation you expected. Anyway, Sixto Sanchez has to come in the fifth inning, is what we're getting to. He struggles. We're going to talk a little bit about him after the game. His velo numbers were a little surprising, everything down. Managed a 1-2-3 sixth inning, though. He did bounce back after giving up a quick couple runs in that, I believe, the fifth, a leadoff single and an error actually assisted that inning from Josh Bell over at first base. Uh, they chased Jared Jones in the sixth. The Marlins did. Jesus Sanchez drove in another run with a single, cut the lead to, at that point, I think we're at 5-3 Pirates. That was as close as it would get for the rest of the ball game, of course. Jared Jones, magnificent performance. 5 2/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, pair of walks. Listen to this, Ethan. 10 strikeouts in his MLB debut. And that's probably somewhat of an indictment on the Marlins offense. Things were ugly. We'll talk
10
about
strikeouts on 89 pitches.
on 89 pitches. Yeah, so he was efficient and striking guys out. Just a tough day at the plate for the Marlins. They finished the game with just 5 hits, and the bright spot, I guess, those 3 runs. Like we mentioned, they did come back to back. They hit in bunches a little bit. with Jake Berger and Jesus Sanchez following up Jazz getting on base. That's a good sign if you can say there were any good signs offensively for the Marlins. Andrew Nardi came in. He had a bad seventh inning. Things got out of hand for him. 4 consecutive hits with 2 outs, including a pair of doubles to end those 4 consecutive hits. Not a great day overall, Ethan. We do have bright spots. Your first bright spot, Ethan, I believe, is the double plays. Nothing? Zero? That's pretty good.
Goose egg. It's pretty solid. I mean, after hitting into 7 in the first 2 games, first 18 innings there, you got to limit them. But at the same time, I don't really think the Marlins were put in many chances to even have an opportunity to ground into a double play. Only 5 hits on the board. Only a handful of walks. I think only 2 walks as well. So Marlins really were not put in a position to be able to ground into double plays. But, when they were in that position, they didn't ground into them. So, a bit of a bright spot. One of the things that I do want to touch on a little bit, and I think that this is something that will only benefit the Marlins in moving forward. Jared Jones, like I said, only had 89 pitches today. And he went 5 2/3, 10 strikeouts. That's not something that winning teams, like, you got to take more pitches. You got to make the pitcher work, and that's going to force
Very
you to
aggressive
get the game
to
early.
start the season, no?
Very aggressive. And, it's not a bad thing. There's got to be a happy medium. But, when you're getting runners on base and that first pitch swinging is grounded into a double play, that is a rally killer. And, it's going to allow the pitchers to stay in the game longer. I know opening day we touched on it. Mitch Keller, he got lit up relatively on the mound, and he pitched into the 6th inning, I believe. So, allowing the pitchers to stay in the games longer, especially in a 4-game series like this, you're not going to go through the bullpen as much. Marlins bullpen is depleted because guys like Weathers, 94 pitches in 4 innings. It's not going to win you games. So, it is a bright spot, but hopefully that's something that we can kind of fix moving forward here. It's a long season. It's only game 3, but it's not looking too great with that.
Yeah, the bullpen very depleted. I marked down 5 guys that I thought could go today. They were Sixto, Nardi, Bender, Tanner Scott, and Cronin, and I believe all but Tanner Scott ended up throwing in this game. Tomorrow might not be too much better. You might need something out of Trevor Rogers. We'll get to that a little later. Sixto Sanchez, one of those names, comes in, threw 11 pitches the other day, comes back today, and we'll try to maybe let you guys see this too. The 4-seam fastball down 6 miles an hour, changeup and slider down about 4, which is relatively similar. His arm's clearly not there after an opening day appearance where he barely threw. Something with the recovery, they got to find ways to work these guys in. With Sixto, obviously, we're going to pay more attention to the situation. But yeah, interesting. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Ethan. With everything surrounding Sixto, I mean, this is certainly an interesting little situation there.
It is a bit interesting, and I know his first spring outing, like I think I mentioned it in the first in the opening day stream as well. I mean, I was at that outing, and the velocity wasn't there, and then it came in, a few days later when he touched 98, I think it was. So with him, you got to find that consistency. Maybe, I mean, he pitched multiple innings a few times in spring training. I know he did it today. Maybe it was, the energy surrounding opening day, that vibe, that Lone Depot Park was electric. Maybe that, helped a little bit. I know may not have been the most, contributing the most, but overall, 34 pitches. This is a guy that, was brought into the majors and really was able to utilize that velocity and create that separation with the changeup, because overall the changeup is his best pitch. And when your fastball sitting 92, 93, having an 88-mile-an-hour changeup isn't going to do the most for hitters. So hopefully we can find ways to get that velo up there, even if it's just shorter outings, maybe 10, 11 pitches where you're maximizing velocity and yeah.
Yeah, that's it's weird. He did throw the changeup a lot more than the fastball, and you see that 6-mile-an-hour dip and you panic on a guy that throws near triple digits like that in his first appearance. But to your point, he does throw the off speed quite often, and he did bounce back and have that 1-2-3 inning in the sixth. So can't say too much about him yet. The way that things are going with his bullpen, he's going to be around a while as long as he can stay healthy. Andrew Nardi also really struggled, as I mentioned. Started off with a 4-pitch walk. Uh, he's a guy that you trust, that you hope he'll bounce back from that. Offensively, bright spots. Luis Arraez, first hit of the season. He was able to get that late in the ball game, a little garbage time single. You could kind of sense, though. I noticed this when he did his signature little slap John Jay's chest after getting a hit, which I kind of forgot about because he hadn't had a hit yet this year. Sort of noticed in the celebration, it's starting to get a little tense. I think guys are starting to feel, all right, we're 3 games in now. It's not brand new anymore. Yes, you have 159 left after today. Boy, that's a big number. But things are starting to get a little real. You can't just chalk it up to it's a long season if you go out and get swept in 4 games by the Pirates, because it's the kind of thing that haunts you down the road when you're trying to be in. I mean, maybe it's not likely at this point, but you're trying to, make the playoffs. You're trying to be as competitive. This is a team that just came off a playoff berth, have a lot of the same guys, and you start to notice that things are starting to weigh on guys. Maybe that's a good thing. I guess time will tell in that regard. Josh Bell, meanwhile, fell a little bit today. A hat trick in his first 3 at bats, I believe. Struck out looking and then a couple swinging today, 0 for 4. Jesus Sanchez, mentioned this earlier. He had a couple RBI hits, a pair of singles today.
One
He looked
against the
good at the
lefty
plate.
too.
One against a lefty, which is kind of nice because of the guy that we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm putting this off. We're going to have a little longer discussion. Avi Garcia, who has had now, I want to say 5, 7, 8 at bats, and 1 hit, hasn't really looked good at the plate. The 1 hit could have been a double play if it were fielded properly by O'Neill Cruz, who's had a rough day, or a rough series so far defensively. That being said, the Marlins have not looked much better. But yeah, we'll talk about Avi tomorrow. But it's good to see Jesus Sanchez hitting against a lefty, because that's kind of Avi's lane if he wants to be in the outfield. Speaking of Avi's lane to be in the outfield, though, the guy he came in for today, Nick Gordon, he goes 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts. Nick Gordon has not looked good at the plate through 3 games. Again, early season talk here. If we were middle of the season, we would probably not even notice that Nick Gordon didn't have a hit in 3 games. But here we are. He's got a big 0-0-0 next to his name, and that's gonna get you some attention, and that could also be Avi's lane into seeing some more time in the field. And Marlins fans not thrilled about that to this point. We've heard some boo birds already in the season. Not something you typically hear in the opening series. You'd like to see Avi get out of it. You'd like to see him a couple hits at some point soon. Again, discussion for tomorrow. We're going to leave that for tomorrow. But that is where we're at. Not much more I want to talk about regarding this game. I don't know if you've got anything, Ethan.
Not really.
No?
Yeah,
One of those
not
games,
really.
huh?
One of those games.
Uh,
Pirates were one of
9-3.
the hottest teams in spring training, and it carried over.
Mm.
And I
It
think
was,
starting the season
go
on
ahead.
the road, you kind of have a chip on your shoulder, and they're out there with something to prove. Marlins are kind of coasting at the moment, but
a rough one opening day, and it feels like it's kind of bled into these last couple games. But again, 4-game series. Normally, you don't get a 4-game series opening weekend. Typically, we'd see like a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. But we've got one getaway tomorrow, and maybe you catch the Pirates. Maybe lulled to sleep a little bit if the offense can get going. Before we get to that, tomorrow, season predictions. Going to have them out if everyone can be there. We're all here. We're going to be doing season predictions. Stay tuned for that. Yuri Perez and Edward Cabrera, we got a little bit of an update on them. We're going to figure everything out and officially get that to you tomorrow and talk about that some more. And yeah, we're going to talk about Avi. That's probably topic. I don't want to say topic A, but probably going to be the most discussed topic if I know Ethan and if I know the way that things tend to go when Avi Garcia is mentioned on this show.
a lot to look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
With that.
speaking of things to look forward to, Trevor Rogers starting for the Fish, the fourth southpaw in 4 games for the Marlins. All we've had are lefty starters to this point. Bailey Falter on the mound for the Pirates. He'll try to complete the sweep, which is tough to hear on a 4-game series to open the season at home.
against the Pirates.
Nonetheless, against the Pirates, who probably at this point are expected to be in a similar position to the Marlins. The way that things are going, they've probably climbed up into that echelon with us, or we've fallen, whatever it may be. But yeah, Falter, a former Philadelphia Philly. The Marlins do have some good stats here, if I could find that again. Brian De La Cruz, couple home runs, 3 for 7 in his career against Falter, and Josh Bell, 4 for 6 with a pair of home runs in his career. Limited numbers from most of the rest of the Marlins, but maybe some bright spots there. Maybe the offense gets going. We saw Connor Joe today. He had magnificent numbers against who was pitched for the Marlins?
Ryan
Weathers. And sure enough, Connor Joe goes 4 for 5, 4 for 6.
3 for 5.
I believe I've got 4 hits down for Connor Joe right now. Maybe he got.
He was pinch hit for Rowdy Tellez.
That's correct. Okay. So 3 hits though for Connor Joe. So maybe those trends will continue tomorrow, and the Marlins will get their side of that. Last but not least, I think we're ready for on this day, right, Ethan?
Yeah.
We got anything else? I mean, I don't want to talk much about the Marlins right now. It's tough because this is what we're trying to do here. It's been a rough couple days. Things will get better. Don't panic yet. Tomorrow, we're going to go full panic mode if we lose, though, so be ready for that. On this day, 1991, not a whole lot on this day. March 30th, not a very popular Marlins day. All I got, Jake Marisnick, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jake Marisnick.
33 years old. Marlins drafted him, I want to say 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And then he played a year in total for the Marlins, probably played 50 games, and hit below the Mendoza line, and then we traded him, and he hit like 280 the rest of the year. That's kind of how these things tend to go, especially in that era of Marlins baseball. Hopefully things do not continue on this trend. Yeah, I mean, rough start, 0-3. We're not going to talk much more about it. 9-3 the final score. Pirates take down the Marlins. The winning percentage can only go up from here. However, I guess the loss percentage, or the loss column, could continue to rise. So trying to be optimistic.
Focus on the win percentage.
We'll focus on the win percentage. It won't get any worse, folks. That's all I got. I'm Kyle Cruzy.
I'm Ethan Bernstein.
Nick Esposito's not here because he's busy. We'll get him tomorrow, and we're going to make fun of him for not being here the last couple episodes.
Blue jerseys make their debut tomorrow, finally, after
you're right. Yeah. We're finally getting blue.
I'm going to look forward to it.
That's the kind of optimism we need. All right? We're going to have the closest thing to teal we've had since teal. That's pretty crazy. Pretty good time to be a Marlins fan.
Got to see them in spring training, but I think they'll look nice. Need them for the first one.
Is it Miami or Marlins?
Marlins. Right across.
Marlins.
Yeah. Same ones as spring training.
Yeah, and not the old M-patch from before in spring training. We got a nice little uniform. Things are looking up. All right, we
can only look up from here. So
interested to see. By the way, one last thing. Interested to see what the attendance looks like tomorrow. 14,000 on hand today. Roof open. Got treated to not a great ball game. Same as last night. So yeah, we'll see in that regard.
Easter Sunday tomorrow. I don't know. Marlins have a lot to compete with today. Panthers, Inter Miami. So
Elite Eight's on. Illinois UConn's on already. For Marlins in the Morning, I'm Kyle Cruzy. That's Ethan Bernstein. Thanks for watching. And we're gonna have a nice 15-second pause here, Ethan, because the way that we end stream, it takes a while. So we're gonna sign off. That's Ethan Bernstein, Kyle Cruzy for the 3rd time signing off. And go fish.
Go fish.
Oh, here it comes. Ready, guys?